Radio Whammo Breakfast. Let's stare into space. Dylan Storey is always staring into space at this time on a Friday morning. All kinds of things to talk about in astronomy circles. Good morning, Dylan.
Good morning.
Good morning. Today we're talking about a new venture by China. They're sending up a space lab today, I believe.
Yes, launched very, very recently. I always struggle with time zones and when things actually happen, but yeah. So they've just launched this rocket, and it's a man-rated rocket, but it's not. This particular mission is just a scout mission. It's not carrying any humans. But the fact that they've launched this rocket is quite significant. It shows sort of how important it is to the leaders of China and how China might be catching up to NASA and Russia as far as space technology goes.
So it's a module that's going to orbit Earth. I mean, what do they mean by that? Is that something that a human can get inside?
Yeah, it is man-rated, so it is. It could potentially carry humans, but they want to do sort of unmanned tests first.
Right.
And
another piece of space junk then.
No, it's not. It's not just a projectile. It's a proper thing, and it's going to perform docking maneuvers.
Oh.
So this is the sort of stuff that NASA was doing with the Gemini project in the early '60s to try and catch up with the Russians and to try and prepare for a mission to the moon, was to learn how to actually separate two vehicles in space and dock them again. And they successfully did that, which led to the Apollo project, which went to the moon. So this is sort of the first steps for China.
Is China completely out on its own with this? I mean, because there's this collaboration, obviously, between Russia and America on the space program, but, are China out on their own?
I think largely, yeah. It's hard to know how much collaboration is going on. In their press release, they said that their craft that they're launching is based on the Russian Soyuz space capsule.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know how much, whether they're actually trading military secrets there, or if they just sort of looked at pictures of the Soyuz and built something like it.
Because when space programs are so separate, it's almost like both are kind of recreating the wheel in a lot of ways.
Well, that does seem like what China are doing now. They're actually learning. They're actually taking these beginner steps themselves. So I know that NASA and the Soviets are cooperating on lots of things now, and especially the projects in association with the International Space Station. But yeah, it's hard to know how much involvement China has. I suspect they are largely isolated and on their own at this stage. Although I can see them catching up quite fast.
Yeah.
Whereby NASA would say, "Hey, do you want to go in on some stuff?"
Okay. Well, we'll keep tabs on that one. Let's look at another one. A human mission to an asteroid is getting there with new space launch system. Oh, so they're starting to develop new ways of getting us out of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, just as sort of as China's coming online, I guess, and NASA's coming offline with the retirement of the space shuttles, NASA is looking to the future and proposing a vehicle capable of taking humans beyond near-Earth orbit, which hasn't been done since the early 70s and hasn't been done past the moon at all. So they're sort of making plans to take people beyond the Earth-Moon system, maybe to an asteroid.
Yep.
And so what they're doing is trying to develop, looking to develop a capsule that will do that. So the space shuttle, for example, was only capable of near-Earth orbit. Wasn't capable of the speeds necessary to leave Earth's orbit, because it's got to be going sort of orders of magnitude faster to actually leave Earth's orbit. So they're designing the Orion capsule, which is left over from the Constellation program, which got canned, and sort of adapting this to fit their new launch vehicle. A few weeks ago, I think we talked about the NASA's new space launch vehicle, or SLV, that they planned. And so the challenge is to find an architecture for a capsule which will fit with this rocket, or the best configuration with this rocket, so that the capsule has sufficient booster power and capacity to take people beyond Earth orbit.
And they're making progress?
And, well, they're making plans to make progress, I think.
Huh.
It's always hard to tell whether they actually are making progress or they're just saying they're going to. But I mean that's what I think that's what the Apollo project and the journey to the moon was all about. The main thing was saying that they're going to do it, and then the rest of it just happens with. It doesn't just happen; it happens with great effort. But I think that actually making that plan and setting that goal is a very important thing in this.
Was it kind of Bush field. Or Obama who said we will go to Mars?
It was Bush.
Yeah.
And then when Obama came along, he sort of said, well, actually, Mars is a very long way away. I think Bush thought
he said we will go to an asteroid.
yeah. I think Bush thought Mars is in the Middle East.
Indeed. Okay.
But there are many unknowns with taking humans into deep space, so it's quite the big challenge. It's a big step up. So we'll see what they come up with, and maybe this pressure of competition from China will be the kick in the bum that NASA needs.
Yeah.
Maybe China will get there first.
Maybe they will. Now, spinny thing. Meanwhile, back here on Earth, lights in the sky. Tell us about that, Dylan.
Yeah, well, I've been seeing it over the internet a lot. A lot of people posting these videos of the Aurora that are happening. There's a great video taken from the International Space Station of looking down on the Earth and looking at the Aurora. So there's high auroral activity has been reported recently, caused by a few coronal mass ejections from the sun. And it's as the sun's coming into solar maximum, its activity's stepping up, so there's a lot more sunspots and solar flares and things like that, and we're getting correspondingly a lot more auroral activity on Earth. And as we did this time 11 years ago, as the sun goes on its 11-year cycle.
Right, so that was what, 99, 2000? Last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because apparently you could see the lights from Auckland last time, at least at some stage in the 90s.
Yeah, I've heard one person say that they've seen Aurora from Auckland.
That'd be pretty choice. You have to get what off to the Waitaks, maybe just a little bit out of Auckland. You wouldn't want to be where there's too much light pollution around, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, where I am, I'm in the Waitaks, and we got pretty clear skies out here. Sometimes, so I should actually get out there and look next time there's a big solar storm.
You can get forecasts, can't you? You can go online to search for Aurora forecasts or something like that, and they can forecast sort of a few days ahead of what the activity is going to be like.
Yeah, that's right, because you can see the solar flares before the massive particles gets here, so there is a bit of time there.
Yeah, I think there's an app as well. There's probably one on iPhone. I saw one. Yeah, there is.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. I definitely know there's an Android one, and you can set it. You can set the threshold for when it will send you an alert saying, "Hey, look." They measure it on a 10-point scale or something, and if it's over 5 or something, you might want to get an alert just to say that there is going to be some activity.
I know it now. Kevin, the telescope operator at Stardome, has one. Well, he's got an app for everything. He's got absolutely every astronomy app you can imagine. Yeah, he gets alerts on the Aurora.
Yeah, as you do. Well, that's very cool. Well, maybe the Stardome might be the place to catch some Aurora action, depending on how strong it is, possibly.
Well, if you're in Auckland Central, it's one of the darker places, being in One Tree Hill there.
Yeah. Well worth checking out at all that activity over at the Auckland Stardome. Thanks very much, Dylan.
Yes, thanks, Wemo.
Dylan Storey on Twitter as well. That's where you can continue the conversation there with him. Time now is 7:52.